Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron, and this is episode 145, and this is a much-anticipated edition of the show because back for the first time in a while, we have a man who's going to address a number of issues and perhaps even some controversies within professional wrestling and pro wrestling Twitter. How exciting is that? We love pro wrestling Twitter here. Atticus Cogar is back on the show, and he's going to talk about recent events that occurred behind the scenes at GCW. He's going to tell us about what Circle 6 is. He's going to talk about some of the issues within 440 leading up to the Hammerstein Ballroom show, maybe some plans that were supposed to happen at Hammerstein in spring break. We're going to cover a lot of topics and so much more today.
I know you think that I shouldn't still love you. I won't tell you that. But if I didn't say it, well, I'd still have felt it. Where's the sense in that? I promise I'm not trying to make your life harder or return to where we were.
Somehow does make my life harder,
I will go down with this ship.
I wish you would.
I won't put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love.
And when we meet, and I'm sure we will, all that was there will be there still. Pardon the interruption.
All right.
Were you expecting me? Were you expecting a breath of fresh air?
Just at this point, I know you will show up eventually, so I'm just...
Yes,
waiting for
I'm the
inevitable.
one who's late all the time.
Okay, this isn't about me showing up late. I'm a very busy man, okay? But good to see you.
Good to see you.
And if
Hey.
you, what?
What about that song I just played? I mean, that was played for me.
Yeah, cover of Dido.
Ooh. Huh?
I mean,
What do you think? I think very underrated. Like, people only know her for the Eminem song, I feel like.
well, and
Like,
her own version of that song.
Yeah.
But
Which did you like better? Did you like them both in their own right?
yeah, they were both okay in their own right. But I don't know much else from her. However, I will say after you brought her up last week off air, I did look her up, and for 50 years old, still looking real good. That Dido.
Her or me?
I thought you were older.
Oh, boy.
If you are...
I thought you were older since you have the thinning hair.
Okay, this is what we're doing right now.
Oh,
Listen,
oh.
If you're new to the show,
Stay true to the show.
Shut the fuck up! I am Gregory Iron, professional wrestler with cerebral palsy. I've been doing this for a long time. I would imagine you know a little bit about who I am. I don't need much of an introduction. Of course, my co-host here, Aaron Bauer, has been on the pro wrestling scene for a long time, managing, commentating, promoting, various other things.
Producing, directing.
Annoying me on this show, but somehow
singing.
We make this
dancing,
thing work. And
eating.
I'm very excited about...
Snoring.
Are you done?
Oh, I thought this was both of our show. Go ahead.
It is. It's fine.
Go ahead. You just be the one that talks all the time.
No, okay. You go ahead. Why don't you try?
No. I'm fine over here just breathing.
No, please.
Thank you for allowing me to.
Please set up the interview like I would.
All right.
In a very professional manner.
Who's the guest this week?
Atticus Cogar.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Atticus Cogar.
That's it? That's what you're doing? Nothing else.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, the lovely and talented Atticus Cogar.
You are an actual moron. The interview with Addy today is going to be... When I recorded the interview, it felt very different. It felt... I don't know. I mean, all the interviews we do on the show are very candid. I think very real, open, and honest. But this one, there were some things said.
This one was a total work?
There's no working about it, brother.
Oh, okay.
This one is a shoot, and it just felt... I mean, there were some things said that I did not expect to be said during the interview. Well,
no, just tell me now.
You gotta.
I can't wait for the interview.
You got to listen to the interview. That's what the interview is for, and we are going.
And really, you need to listen to the whole podcast.
Yeah,
from start to finish, or else you won't understand when we say things like an alpaca will sniff a mustache for $5.
Yeah, or something for Emily, or.
I mean, we got a lot of inside jokes, and we like our tight knit family here.
We do, and we enjoy you people wherever you download the podcast, but we specifically cater to a lot of you on patreon.com/IronWrestling, where starting at just $3 a month, not only do you get a buttload of bonus content, but you are part of a great wrestling community. A lot of these people have really become closer to me than my family. I could say that for Aaron as well. I mean, we message these people all the time, and actually we just had one of our members, Eric, create a Discord, which I can link at some point over on the social media this week. I have to actually put a link up on the Patreon. I don't know much about Discord. Eric's trying to explain it to me. Do you know anything about it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. And you said Link, and all I can think about is that Good Mythical Morning show with Rhett and Link.
Well, I'm a little bit cooler. I think of like Zelda when I think of Link. You know, is that a video game you ever... what's the word you use for video games?
Oh, I used to solve them.
Solve a video? No, okay.
I solved them.
Okay,
they were problems, and I solved them.
Just some old man shit.
And I got a problem solver, and his name is Revolver.
Discord is something I'm not very hip to, so I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think it's too complicated. I think this is basically just a private Discord group for the Patreon members.
I still don't even know what you mean. What you keep saying like a Discord? What's that?
It's a social media platform of sorts where you share memes. I'm trying to explain it.
Okay.
Like just talk with each other. It's basically a private group chat in a lot of ways for our Patreon members.
Man, that sounds cool.
Okay.
I can't wait to be involved in that somehow.
Anyways, it's
going to be real hard. Just so you know, it's going to be very hard for me to understand how to download it. Do I get it in like Google Play or something?
You can just go to your Google store and download it as an app. Yes. Which, by the way, we'd like to welcome 3 of our new Patreon members that signed up this week. Melissa Ann, Brent, Maddie, and Anthony Hagen. Thanks for signing up for Patreon.
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing today?
It's nice that you said that, Aaron, but they can't reply to you in real time.
But they will over on Patreon.
They can. They
have the opportunity to say whatever they want to you or me.
Patreon at $3 gets you in the door with the bonus audio. $5 gets you in with bonus video, which we are having full-length episodes of old indie shows, wrestling matches, things of that nature, bonus content video-wise for Patreon members, some of the ridiculous stuff that they request. We do unboxings, things like that. $9 is the favorited tier where you get to pick a bonus podcast subject once a month. and we put it in the queue. Eventually, we will get to it. We're going to cover some of those this week on Patreon. We get so many subjects, actually, that we're real backed up, so just be patient. And a lot of you guys are over on Patreon, so thank you for that. $25 and up, you get something in the mail from us every other month. Aaron, as you know, we sent out some T-shirts in the package this month, which we don't do very often, but we love our Patreon people. So
and I love this
T-shirt
miles. So much.
Yeah.
That I kept one for myself.
What?
Nothing. Don't tell, Jordan in the truck.
I'll just take it out of your pay. And so $25 and up to get you something from our, what we like to call our Howard Animal Steel package. Howard was an impersonator on the Indies for a long time of George Steele, and many people believe that he was the real deal. I didn't mean to rhyme, but I did.
He even believed that he was the real deal.
He convinced himself. Actually, go back a couple weeks ago, we had Sabu on the podcast who opened up.
Did you say the Young Bucks?
No, shut up. Sabu opened up on the podcast about a lot of things that we didn't expect him to, but he also elaborated on the history of Animal Steel, which included him being a bodyguard for his uncle, the Sheik. It's a ridiculous story. It's a different interview than you'd ever hear from Sabu, so go back in the archives to episode 143 and check that out. But $29 and up will get you on Patreon conversing with us on Zoom calls with your own podcast subject. We sometimes do it one-on-one. We oftentimes have been doing it in a group format because it's easier on me time-wise, and it's just a good time over on Patreon. There's also other tiers where you can be in studio recording the podcast with us once a month. Yes, that's a thing that you can do. You can eat food with us once a month. Check it out, patreon.com/ironandwrestling. And by the way, we will follow you back on social media so you can interact with us directly. It's a good time. But I'm done with the plugs. Aaron, is there anything you want to talk about before we go into the interview with Atticus today?
Yes. The meaning of life.
Seems a little too deep to talk about right now.
Okay, then let's go to the interview with Atticus Cogar.
Right? You don't want to talk about anything.
I can't remember anything. Oh, do you mean all the gold medals that my team won at the Special Olympics winter version?
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
Well, as you know, I'm the aquatics coach for Lorain County Special Olympics, and I had several of my swimmers achieve the ultimate in our great sport of swimming. Yes, 3 gold medals went out, a silver medal, a bronze medal, and I believe 2 fourth-place ribbons.
That's great.
Yes. And then I don't know if I did win Coach of the Year. I'm not going to. I mean, it's really not about me. It's just about what I do for the people of the world.
Well, that's quite the exaggeration when we say the people of the world, but I feel like your team appreciates you.
Oh, everybody's great, man. A lot of good. You know what's kind of sucked about this year? They weren't doing like the whole podium deal, like where, in the Olympics where the 3 people, stand on the deal on the stairs.
Yeah.
Not doing that this year. I believe COVID ended that.
Wow.
Yeah, so nobody really got their medals, and I believe that they're mailing them to us.
Oh, that sucks.
And oddly enough, ironically enough, I had posted a picture of myself and the 2 other coaches, and I said, we're not leaving without any hardware. Well, guess what we left without? Any hardware. We won it, but we just physically didn't bring it home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did win, and that's important. Do they do anything in the Special Olympics where the losers get something? Because I feel like this would be the only time that I would be okay with everybody getting something for their hard work.
Participation?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the people I coach, I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Well.
We only give medals and ribbons.
Gotcha. Well, I mean,
no participation trophies here.
Good.
I gave them, let me tell you about the speech I gave them.
Oh, okay.
So there we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the bullpen area where the swimmers gather. It's kind of like a locker room. Or it's the gorilla position. Okay? So there we are. And I'm only allowed a certain amount of time to give last-minute advice to my team. And I said to them, this is the dance. And they all looked at me, and somebody said, I think we're swimming, Coach Aaron.
Yeah, you probably confused them, actually.
Yep.
Was that all you said in your speech?
Not a dance. This is the dance. And then I said, there's nothing else really to say, is there? But nobody was even listening to me anyways at this point. So.
Okay. Well, that's sad.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there is someone out there that, unbeknownst to me, she does listen to you when you talk, Aaron.
Who that is?
I'll tell you that this weekend I'm spending time with Nicole and
Oh,
Jess.
that Nicole. Wait, who?
Nicole,
What?
my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And her twin sister, who you've never met, yet you pretend that you date her, Jess.
Oh, yeah, I think I kind of remember something about her.
Uh-huh. Yep. You've never interacted with her ever. And the girls were showing me how they got their nails done. They got some little cute designs on their nails. And do you want to take a guess what Jess had done on her nails? What kind of design do you think was on her nails?
Man. Okay, if I had to guess about a design that would be on Jess's nails, I'd imagine that there was a cloud.
Okay, no, you're wrong.
And she's up there with a fishing pole. She's holding a fishing pole in her hand.
No.
No? Okay, so the index finger, there's a cloud.
No.
The middle finger, there's a fishing pole.
Uh-uh.
The one that's next to that one has a what?
I'm just going to tell you.
Okay.
She had kitty cats on her fingernails. And you know what she said to me?
What did she say?
First she said, meow. And then I said,
Okay.
No, Jess. Say it slower.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm not saying it slower. And I said, no, please. Say it slower for me. She's like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then she just went, meow. And I was, and Nicole was like, ew. You didn't fight that too much.
Yeah.
And she was cracking up laughing. So that was a real thing.
Yeah.
That
Meows.
happened this weekend.
Meows bring people joy.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so. Just do it. Try it one time.
I'm not.
Come on, give me a little meow.
I did, but it was like,
Give me
I
one
did
a
it
little
half-assed.
slower.
no.
Kitty want to hear Greggy.
Stop it.
I
I do like cats, though, but I'm not going to meow like that.
Kitty want to give Greg fleas. Meow, meow, meow.
Okay. Anyways, I just thought I'd tell you that to maybe give you a little bit of an ego boost. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you still have no chance, but, you know.
Oh, man. Anytime anybody says no chance, what pops into my head immediately?
Vince McMahon?
Yes, exactly. The music just starts going.
Coincidentally, we're going to talk about Vince McMahon.
I thought you were going to say Nicole got Vince McMahon on her nails.
What? No.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Vince McMahon in a bonus episode on Patreon this week. It was at the request of one of our Patreon members, Mitch, and I think this
Mitch!
We're going to start talking about the Vince interview that he did this week with Pat McAfee, which was very interesting. And actually, in this version of the episode, if you're on Patreon, there will be an extended episode. We will put that stuff on the back end because we know that a lot of you tuning in for the first time on Patreon want to listen to that Atticus interview firstly. So we're going to do it that way. And make sure if you're over on Patreon, you check out the 40-ish minute bonus episode that we put up with Atticus, where we talked about a number of things that I think will interest you very much. It was another very deep, in-depth conversation that we had about just some random shit. But I think if you're a fan of 440, if you're a fan of Atticus Cogar, you'll dig this interview. And with that being said, we're not going to talk about much else until later on in the show. So we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we will go to the interview with the Silver Teeth Satan, Atticus Cogar. You know, Aaron, it's March.
I do know Aaron. I am him.
It's March, and a lot of big things are coming up in the foreseeable future. I mean, in a few weeks, there's WrestleMania. This past weekend, there was AEW Revolution. And in life, I'm sure there's like holidays or something coming up that you might want to be, I don't know, especially prepared for. I mean, let me check my calendar here. I don't know if I can think of anything that, St. Patrick's Day.
No better touching me Lucky Charms.
What? What are you talking about?
The St. Patrick's Day guy. He's on the box for the cereal.
First of all, he's a leprechaun. Why did you call him a St. Patrick's Day guy?
What's his name?
I don't know.
Larry? The leprechaun?
It could be.
I am the leprechaun.
Well, you know, even leprechauns want to be finely groomed below the waist.
I don't want any leprechauns having any sharp tools.
Well, this isn't a sharp tool.
Oh.
I mean, it's sharp in the sense that it's cool to look at, sweet to have, but it will not leave any cuts, nicks, or any blood down there. Down where? Oh, on the ball sack. Because I'm talking about Manscaped and their Lawnmower 4.0. That's right. Listen. Over 4 million men worldwide trust in Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, and over 70% of mates prefer a groomed genitalia. So, why not invest in something like the Lawnmower 4.0, which is the electric trimmer that's designed to trim hair on loose skin? And get this, it's got advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces those cuts and nicks that I talked about on your oh-so-delicate balls. And sometimes we talk about the rainbow that comes out of the pot of gold. Well, this particular item shines brighter than a rainbow because I'm talking about the 4000K LED spotlight that's included on the Lawnmower 4.0. I mean, you got to agree with me when I say it's brighter than a rainbow, right?
So you're telling me this rainbow's got no hair on it?
Well, rainbows are historically hairless, to my knowledge. I'm talking about the leopard.
But how embarrassing would it be for a rainbow if it did have hair?
I guess it would be sort of uncharacteristic of a rainbow.
Yeah.
They would need the Lawnmower 4.0, but I mean, if they also had, I don't know, nose or ear hair, which, again, they don't because they're rainbows, they could trim those.
But you know who does have nose and ear hairs?
The leprechaun! I am the leprechaun! I have hairy paws!
Please stop. He's good. So you would want to use the weed whacker on those inconvenient nose and ear hairs, leprechaun guy. So you can whack the worst weeds. And, of course, as part of the Performance Package 4.0, not only do you get the lawnmower and the weed whacker, you get 2 free gifts that, I mean, I would sort of equate them to a pot of gold.
Don't touch me, pot of gold!
Well, you can also tell them not to touch your shed travel bag or anti-chafing boxer briefs, which will keep your boys stored comfortably. Leprechaun Larry? Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I am the leprechaun.
Okay, going back to that, huh? But, you know, to complete the perfect package, you could also go to manscaped.com and invest in any of their liquid formulations like the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant or the Crop Reviver Ball Toner. You could start your day off with the deodorant for your boys and keep them cool all day with the toner so you'll feel best all day long for any occasion, whether it's St. Patty's Day or any day of the week. And these formulations will also leave you feeling like the king of balls.
My name is Finley, and I love to fight.
Wow, what a cameo from Finley here. Finley, have you used the Lawnmower 4.0?
My name is Finley, and I love to fight.
Okay, well, he also loves to shave his balls, and you will too. make sure you go to manscaped.com. And also, maybe you want to try the refined cologne too, by the way, which I'm a big fan of. But go to manscaped.com and use our exclusive promo code PARDON, PARDON, and that will save you 20% off and get you free shipping. That's right, 20% off and free shipping. So take the time right now to support the show at manscaped.com with promo code PARDON. And let me tell you this. I will thank you. Aaron will thank you. And I think
The leprechaun will thank you.
and most importantly, I don't know what you're doing. Your balls will thank you. And that's what matters. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Speaking of St. Patrick's Day, or really, what are you, clown? Why are you saying random words?
I'm solving the puzzle.
What puzzle?
I was watching Wheel of Fortune, and the answer was professional clown. And it made me think of you, Greg.
Okay. Well, if you need a true professional that isn't clowning around when it comes to artwork, designs, logo, perhaps some sort of piece for a family member or a loved one, someone special in your life.
Somebody that may no longer be with us.
Yeah, I guess. You go to, I don't know who you're talking about, but...
I'm talking about the leprechaun.
Okay. No.
I am the leprechaun, and I want one to draw me. Me and me pot of gold.
Well, you're going to want to go to Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs Leprechaun, where you can get any type of artwork you want. Maybe perhaps you could start investing in some merchandise for yourself because, you know, he has done artwork for a variety of big names like Isaiah Swerve Scott and Trey Miguel and Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express, myself included, and just a variety of names in NXT, WWE, Impact, what? NWA.
Did you say the Young Bucks? You leprechaun.
I said the Young Bucks. What kind of design would you like Juan to bring to life for you, good sir?
Well, since it's St. Patrick's Day,
Not yet, but close.
I would like
Come on, spit it out.
a drawing
Okay, yeah, that's what he does.
of me pot of gold,
Okay, with nothing else?
a rainbow,
Okay. Okay.
and me, the leprechaun.
Yep.
I am on the rainbow,
Okay.
and I'm climbing the rainbow to get to me pot of gold, which is located on the cloud.
Piece of shit. You piece of shit.
Me climbing rainbow
Why are you struggling to say something?
to pot of gold.
What is wrong with you? What? What the fuck? Okay, well, yeah, that's a great idea, I guess. So, I don't know.
Oh, can't forget me fishing pole.
Okay. Well, whether you are a famous wrestler, what? Whether you're a famous wrestler or perhaps an unknown wrestler who's looking to step up your merch game, or whether you're someone,
A leprechaun.
whether you're a leprechaun or Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, whoever you are, no matter how prominent you are or not, Juan Ortiz wants to help you bring something incredible to life. And he will do that right now. He's got spots available, and you want someone with over 15 years of experience in the industry. So I suggest you contact Juan right now. Go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com. But also, make sure you go to his social medias, Instagram @ofthedead209 or Facebook, facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns. Let him know what you want, and tell you what, if you mention Iron on Wrestling, you'll save $10 on your first design. That's right. Any type of artwork, commission, logo, anything of that nature, Juan is going to knock off $10. So reach out to him right now. Mention Iron on Wrestling, and he will take care of you because he takes care of us. So, with that being said, contact Juan. Let him know we sent you. And Of the Dead Designs, they're bringing your artwork to life.
Juan
What?
is recommended by 4 out of 5 leprechauns.
Okay. I'm glad you wanted to get that in. Wow. Okay. Well, these commercials are done.
Sounded better in my head.
Yep, sure it did. And now that we got those out of the way, let's go to the interview with Atticus Cogar. Okay, so anything interesting happening in your life lately?
Nothing at all.
Nothing
whatsoever.
of note. Okay, that's good to know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time since I've had this man on the show. First time was back way in 2020 when the show started. He actually came back on the show with his brother back in June of last year. And a lot of things have changed in those periods of time. Ladies and gentlemen, Atticus Cogar.
I just want to say thank you for paying me the $2,500 that it cost to have me on the podcast.
Well, I had to because, as I was telling you before we started recording, I didn't realize it until I looked into it. You have the second most downloaded episode of the show right behind Danhausen.
Who?
Come on.
Never heard of him.
You know Danhausen.
You want to know a story about Danhausen?
Sure.
He broke my eye socket, my orbital floor.
Oh, boy, we're starting with a shoot
with
here.
With a GTS, go to sleep.
Have you ever talked about this?
I mean, no, but it was something that happened at a show, and then I announced that I couldn't do my bookings any further for like the next 2 months because I had a broken orbital floor. Yeah, so fuck you, Danhausen.
Wow. Now, come on. You know that was accidental,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you guys have talked since.
I have done a GTS to him since.
Oh, okay. So it
Yeah.
all worked out.
Yeah.
What do you think about the rise of Danhausen?
It's great. It's good to see that he's as successful as he's been.
Well, I mean, what do you think? We're not going to make this a Danhausen podcast,
We
but
can.
see, I think Danhausen is hilarious. But what do you attribute his success to? I mean, it just sort of ballooned out of nowhere, and like, I mean, I can't put my finger on any specific thing when I think about the character, other than it's just different and it's sort of out there,
Yeah.
and I don't know. What do you think about it?
I feel like a lot of stuff contributes to it. I feel like when he got over, he never stopped marketing himself. He was always putting out new merch, always putting out just new posts on social media, always reinventing himself. He obviously started off with like the different face paint and all that stuff, and then finally stuck to one and kind of evolved the entire character. But I think other than your podcast with him, he never explained really what the character was. It just kind of let people keep guessing.
Theater of the mind.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest ones is, and this is a lost art today in my opinion, but he very, very, very rarely exposes who he is outside of the character.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been most successful about it, because if you look at the people in independent wrestling that are the most successful, it's people that the audience can invest in, and they want to know a lot about them, or they think that they know about them, and they really don't, aka Nick Gage.
Oh, okay. All right. See, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Everything you said, though, the whole time I was thinking, you could easily replace Danhausen's name with all those statements and put Atticus Cogar, because I think you've consistently reinvented yourself. You've always been consistent on social media and engagement and not letting too many people in to your personal life. And I think that intrigues people. And it seems like a very difficult and challenging thing to do in the era we live in. But I really do think it brings the people in, because I think about now we live in a world where The Undertaker is on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Right.
And just that to me is like, how is this a thing? Or like, I think he posted a video a few months back. He was opening up some rap concert and he like was like an Undertaker character, but kind of not.
All right.
And it was just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like this is funny for all the wrong reasons, but also I don't want to see this. So it's like,
Sure.
I mean, I don't remember if we talked about this back on the last podcast, but like, have you always had that mindset with the character?
Yes.
Just not letting people in?
Yeah, and I think that stemmed from one, obviously my favorite wrestlers being all like the spooky wrestlers like Kane, and you know, like just like you said with Undertaker and Kane, nobody ever really knew anything about them, and when I started, I wore the skin mask and stuff. So I knew that if I'm going to be able to pull off this character, nobody can know about anything in my personal life. I have to force feed them the fact that I cut people's faces off and
Sure.
wear them, you know?
Yeah.
And like we tried to convince people that your little brother was really a Cogar brother, and that didn't work, and we fucking kicked him out. So
Right.
like we always just stuck to what worked and tried to build on that, but that's carried over into who I am now. And I think that 440 and that platform of me kind of being myself has allowed me to keep building onto what I was before, you know?
Yeah, that all makes sense. And, you know, you talked about not letting people in, but today we're going to let everybody in on a lot of things.
Let's shoot.
And we're going to get into some interesting subjects. But, you know, you mentioned 440. One of the things I don't think we talked about in previous podcasts, I'd like to think that 440's success as a group is the idea that we were being legitimate bad guys. But I think without saying it, we sort of broke some rules that have gotten established within indie wrestling over the past few years. In particular, one that I love more than anything, because it's such a simplistic thing, but everybody fucking does it now, is the handshake thing after the match. The no handshake rules that 440 has. And I don't know, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, that's something that literally everybody does. And there's obviously, like, in an independent wrestling, especially on a higher level, like, you know, your Game Changer wrestlings and beyond and stuff like that, a lot of it is, there's no story behind it. And they have to, like, people can say that they're telling a story, but that's, like, within the match itself. There's no actual storylines happening. And when they are, obviously that's different, but, like, when it comes to after matches, everybody, you know, will shake their opponent's hand, or they'll get on the mic and put them over. And I do think that there is a time and a place for it, but I think that everybody does it too much, because too many people are afraid of being a bad guy in wrestling, in fear that, you know, they're not gonna sell tickets, or they're gonna get bashed on social media, or whatever it may be. So I've tried to kind of take that rule and, I don't know, tweak it and mess with it. And, like, I've done a lot of angles where, like, for example, a week or two ago I did H2O, and I faced Matt Tremont in a no rope barbed wire, and we did a handshake spot at the end, and it turned into my brother popping in behind Tremont and attacking him. So, like, I always do stuff like that. That way, which I doubt I'll ever shake anybody's hand after a match because that's just not me, but like if I were to ever truly shake someone's hand, it could be its own moment.
Yeah.
And actually mean something versus just fucking doing it every time.
And it really pisses me off because, like, again, it's done, in my opinion, for fear of not getting over. Like,
Yes.
because sometimes, especially with smarter crowds, they have this mindset of, what are you going to do to impress me, right? And so you have to kill yourself in the matches, which I don't think is necessarily a thing that you have to do every single time. But also, when you're done, it either has to be the handshake spot or you put each other over on the mic. And
or
this,
on social media.
right. And this happens like for fear of not being over. And it's just like these people will kill themselves, whether it's just a back and forth crazy super indie match, or even, I think it's even worse when it's like a fucking death match, and a random death match with no story, where two guys beat the fuck out of each other, bloody each other, like your body's legitimately cut up, scars for the rest of your life, and then you're going to get on the mic, particularly in a losing effort, like, this motherfucker's awesome, thank you for this match tonight. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like, it makes me fucking gag. And I think, like, I don't know, you love horror movies, and I guess sort of different from wrestling, but not too far removed. Like, if you're a good bad guy, I think if there's this fear that you won't sell merch or whatever the fuck, I think it's non-existent, because, like, in any type of movies, not just horror movies, but, like, if the character is good enough and you can actually believe this person's a piece of shit, you will invest in that person. I mean,
Yes.
like, look at, not talking horror, Heisenberg, Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Like, he starts out as a good guy, but he becomes, like, this incredibly despicable human being. And he still sells shirts. He still sells merch. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like, if that's what you're afraid of, like, that's not I don't think it's an issue, right? If you're doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, even in today's age, everybody is going to glorify serial killers. Like for example, you have Charles Manson. The dude has a swastika tattooed in the middle of his forehead. I can't even tell you how many people glorify this man, but then, will go on social media and complain about other people doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, like, that kind of stuff. Or, like, I feel like if there's a serial killer or any sort of killer nowadays that happens now, like, we're from Cleveland, so there was the Ariel Castro or whatever dude,
Yes.
who locked up 3 girls in his house
Mhm.
for 10 years. He's the worst person on the planet, and which I agree, and I'm not saying that he's not, but I'm just trying to make the point of he's the worst person on the planet, but then everybody's going to sexualize Ted Bundy
Yeah.
for doing very similar things that
Right.
he did. And I don't know, I just find it interesting to see people's thought process on that.
Yeah, it's weird stuff, but the character has really grown and changed since the first time you've been on the podcast, and even since the last time you were on the podcast with your brother, and really the situation in which you've been in involving GCW and various other promotions, that's greatly changed. I guess particularly GCW. So
Yes.
there's been a lot of talk on social media and rumblings about what may or may not have happened in the last few weeks.
Sure.
Where do you want to start? What is a proper beginning for this story?
It's hard. There's a lot of things that go into this story. I think the main one being that there's so much speculation to what happened on all forms of social media, even like Reddit and shit. Like you type in my name with GCW and like there's like articles and all that kind of stuff being posted about me leaving GCW. And there's so many different stories, and there's already people that are creating their own like narratives in their head of what happened and judging the whole situation.
Following War Games, sort of the dynamic of 440, the presence of 440 for a little bit is sort of non-existence there. You're kind of doing your own thing. Slowly, some of us get integrated back in. Eric shows up. me and Bobby come back. Eddie only comes back. We're sort of with you when it's convenient. We're not being brought out to all the shows. How did you feel about the booking leading up to what happened recently? And did this play a factor in any of your decisions?
There was some of the booking I liked and some of it I didn't. After War Games, the ultimate plan was for me to kind of go on my own, and then eventually some sort of angle to like bring you guys back and make it cool. And I feel like it was just kind of, I don't know, mushed together, and it was kind of like after War Games, Ricky just disappeared from GCW, and I guess essentially you guys did too, and I was doing stuff on my own, and then Michigan, I think, was the show where you guys came back, right?
I believe so.
Instead of it like being like, oh, 440 is returning, because what a lot of people don't realize is 440 never got involved in my matches. Like, if you were at ringside or something, yeah, maybe. But, like, 440 never did run-ins for me. So it could have been, like, some cool comeback for you guys, and instead it was just announced me and Eddie only are teaming, and it kind of just, like, brought everybody back, and, like, Eric was part of NGI, and you guys were randomly there, but then just got jobbed out.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I was grateful for the opportunities of facing Rena and Takeda, just everything. I wouldn't say that the booking of how I was booked in GCW or how we were booked in GCW had anything to do with me leaving. I mean, like, yeah, I didn't like it, but at the same time, I look at it like, if a movie star doesn't like his role in the movie, he's still showing up and he's still going to get paid to play that role. And that's just kind of how I've always looked at it. I'm going to get paid the same regardless of what I do.
And you want to make the best of it.
Of course.
Like
which I feel like we did.
For sure. Obviously this episode isn't about me, but, you know, I always, you know, inside wanted more at GCW. To be honest, I don't know if I've ever really talked about this publicly. I mean, I sort of just ended up there basically by legitimately driving the car to the show, and Ricky was just kind of like, this was in what, New Jersey, Philly?
It was in Philly at the Voltage Lounge.
Okay, so, and like, it was just a random Monday night show, and he was like, if you drive there, maybe you can do something on the show. And then the whole thing where we attack Nikki and you fucking shot fire out of your mouth and all this bullshit, it just led to something that no one really expected, right? And so I found out pretty quickly, and maybe I sort of played into it, that I was going to be the bitch boy of the group because I didn't do a lot of death matches. But I was okay with that. But I'd like to think that, especially at the end, and this, you know, say what you will about Brett or whatever, I felt like those last couple shows leading up to War Games, like I sort of earned respect from him. Like, I don't know, like it's like I've been working for this guy for fucking a year and a half at this point. Like, the idea that I got my ass kicked by Gage for fucking 15 minutes or whatever the hell, right, bled everywhere. Like, I mean, War Games, I got to start the match. I got to see the whole thing from the inside, from start to finish. And we sort of talked about it after the match. It was one of the biggest independent wrestling matches of all time. And I felt like, personally, because there was so much downtime in certain moments, I felt like, this may sound weird, like we were actually in a war together. Like, I was in there with my friends, and we were getting fucked up, but we were telling this great story, and, like, I was scared for you, but, like, you know, we were in it together. Like, you know, I'm watching you fucking take the Spanish Fly from Alex off the top of the cage, and I'm like, oh, fuck, he's good, and then I hear you go, my head, and I'm like, fuck, he's not good, and I'm telling the ref, fucking check on him right now.
Rolled under the ropes. It was like, nobody touch me.
Yeah, and, like, there was something really special about that, and we don't get that moment if GCW and Brett doesn't help give us that moment.
100%,
You know, but we
yes.
fucking busted our ass to create the presence that we did, both on social media and in these matches. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think as performers, we all want the booking to be better for us, right?
Sure.
But you make a great point. Like, you take the situation that you're given. Like, I, as the bitch boy, took the situation I'm given. I'm like, you know what? You're not going to give me matches all the time in the show. I'm just the bitch boy. Fuck it. I'm going to be the best bitch boy possible. And I'm going to make myself stand out somehow, you know? So, like, that's just what it comes down to, I think, from a performer aspect.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And that's why, like, I was saying, like, it really has nothing to do with my departure from GCW. But at the same time, there were little things that I went out of my way personally to do, to obviously, like you said, make the most of things and try to get the best positions possible. Like, I was informed that we were doing the Hammerstein show, and I looked at it as like, okay, that's going to be my biggest opportunity that I've ever had. I truly believe that. And the promo that I released before Hammerstein, I also just want to clarify, that was me and all me. And I was not asked to do that promo. And it was the promo that was pretty much about, hey, why are all these TV names on Hammerstein, and why are the people who, you know, help this company grow not on Hammerstein?
Before you continue, let me
Sure.
actually play the audio from that promo, just because I want to give people, I don't know, it was a great promo. As soon as I watched it, I was like, fuck yeah. Because, like, it blurred the lines. Like, we knew it blurred the lines, and obviously from the feedback on social media, if they didn't realize it, it was a subconscious thing. And once you said it and put it all out there, people were like, you know, whether I like him or not,
Yeah.
he makes valid points. So let's play that audio real quick.
This close to main eventing the world on GCW at Hammerstein Ballroom. This close to Atticus Cogar versus Jon Moxley for the GCW World Championship. Congratulations, D. How many times have you wrestled at Hammerstein now? But you know what gets under my skin the most? It's that I have bled buckets for GCW. 440 have sacrificed so much for this company. And you know for a fact that if it wasn't for 440, GCW would not be where it is today. You have Janela and Cardona in some stupid fucking Twitter love storyline. You have Homicide, Moxley, the Briscoes, Gresham, Jeff Jarrett. If anybody wanted to see any of that, they could just turn on their TVs. And you already sold out before you announced the matches, so you can't tell me that this talent is who drew for this show. Where's all your homegrown talent? Where's the people that put GCW on their backs during peak pandemic and helped this company stay alive? I know that this is a quicksand business, but I refuse to run in place. I've beaten every challenge that you've put in front of me, and I still don't have a match at Hammerstein. I refuse to be put in some PBR pre-show just to say that I wrestled at Hammerstein because I'm not a fucking mark. You're gonna regret not giving me an opportunity. I'm gonna hurt someone's feelings, and I'm gonna make someone bleed just so your dumbass gets fined. Have security or an army of people ready.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
One thing about that I want to point out, and I'll let you continue. My favorite line is, "This is a quicksand business, but I refuse to run in place." When you have a line like that, I know what I do in thinking of promos. Like, I go to my notes app right away. If I hear something, I fucking write something down real quick. Not for any particular promo, but I think to myself, will I be able to apply this to something when I come to that moment? I'll feel it. I'll go to my notes app. I'll see what I have here to work with, and, like, does this work for what I'm doing? When you come up with a line like that, where does it come from?
So one, I do the exact same thing that you just said. But I'm not really sure where I got that specific line. I just heard the term quicksand business, and I don't know, like I felt something. I related to it so much at the time, especially with what I was going through. And with independent wrestling, you're given the platform to do stuff and be creative, especially with GCW. 9 times out of 10, you're given zero direction, and there's always someone coming for your spot. You know, there's always Brett's new toy. And that's what I was told since day one with the whole like quicksand business thing. I don't know. I just always related to that with GCW because pretty much just like you're sinking. And if you're just going to sit there and run in place in quicksand, you're going to just fucking sink to the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of just the thought going into that. I didn't really look at it as a super powerful line. I never really, I don't know, thought about it like that until you said something, but it is true, and it still applies to everything that I'm doing today. And going into that promo, I knew what I was doing. I knew that I didn't have a prominent spot on the show. I knew that I was going to do something with quote-unquote ECW legends. I knew that there were a lot of people on the roster because I was on every GCW show. So every show leading up until Hammerstein, there was so many people in the locker room that were upset because they did so much for the company and they didn't have prominent positions, you know? You had the SGC guys in prominent positions, and I don't disagree with that. I think that they've been a huge part of GCW's success, and they all deserve every bit of it. You know, you've got 30 other people on your roster that were there every single show during COVID that are, in the pre-show Battle Royal?
Was that your mindset with the promo? Like, when you cut a promo like that, you're basically saying, like, why the fuck are you booking all these outside guys when these motherfuckers built this show? Yes. Again, like you said, it was sold out before any of these names were announced. So my question is, when you cut this promo, is it your mindset that maybe it's going to help other people that you think should be on the show? Or is there a mindset of, well, if I cut this promo and it's really fucking good and get some buzz, I can leverage myself into a better match? Or are you thinking beyond that and thinking to yourself for the betterment of the company, like perhaps maybe if I cut this promo and it gets over, maybe it'll open a door for not me specifically, but an interesting storyline going forward?
Sure. Okay, so yeah, the last one I kind of had in mind, but my main one was, and on several occasions, I told Brett Lauderdale, I want to be a GCW guy. When people think of Atticus Cogar, I want them to think Game Changer Wrestling. And hearing, you know, how mad everybody was in the back, my first thought is, okay, well, if everybody's mad about this Hammerstein show, nobody's going to go out there and work hard. Nobody's going to give a fuck about anything we're doing because they don't feel appreciated. As much as people aren't really going to believe this, it was kind of for the overall view of the company, because, you know, there's people that complain about how much it's gotten away from, like, the death matches and, like, you know, you just like the Howell days you look at versus what it is now. I don't know. I've never been one to hold back what I'm going to say. I was able to do that, and it changed the card. It really did, regardless if they want to admit that or not.
Well, the reception you got when you cut that promo on social media, for you, it seemed very positive. What did the office think about that promo?
Oh.
because as you sort of alluded to, this was not approved by anybody in management.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, Game Changer Wrestling never shared the promo. They never retweeted it. Nobody from them, I mean, Giancarlo probably retweeted it and said something about it, but, like, nobody ever shared it from their end. They didn't want it seen. And when it started getting a lot of views, and regardless if it's positive on my end or not, the overall reaction to it was, yeah, he's right. all these dudes aren't on the show, what the fuck? I know that Game Changer Wrestling is going to listen to Twitter. So that was my goal with it, was for Twitter to freak out and for them to listen to Twitter. So I think, I don't know, it overall helped everything. But yeah, Brett was not happy about it. And I feel like it's why our spot went from about 5 ECW legends coming out and bumping us to maybe just Sabu.
I don't want to speak for you, but I know I was thankful for the opportunity to be in that building. I don't know if I would have got that opportunity necessarily from Brett. He allowed it to happen, but I think you pushing for us and the guys really made that happen. So I want to thank you for that, because to be in a venue where so many historic ECW pay-per-views happen, to be in a building where some of the first episodes of Monday Night Raw happened, where I grew up watching as a kid, it was a great life moment. And I'd like to think that whatever we did in that building, whatever ended up happening, I appreciate it. And I tried to let it sink in that moment. It happened so quick, I don't know if I could fully appreciate it, but it was fucking cool to be in there, right? But there was a lot of talk behind the scenes that what we ended up doing, we didn't want to get beat up by Sabu, the four of us.
Yeah, by no means did we not want to do it. I mean, the idea of doing something with Sabu and ECW legends and all that in Hammerstein Ballroom is very cool. And again, very grateful for the opportunity for everything. But yeah, I mean, up until the day of the show, it was supposed to be a bunch of ECW legends that were going to come out and do stuff. And then we were told it was just Sabu and Bill Alfonso. And we said okay, and we did it.
Yeah.
And we sold a bunch of merch, and it was a lot of fun. And I have no issues, really, with the Hammerstein event, as far as the way that I was booked on the show, or we were booked.
We made the best of what we had, and we had a great opportunity to showcase what we do in front of one of the biggest independent crowds, the biggest crowd in that building ever for wrestling, which is crazy to think about considering all the things that has happened in that building
crazy.
Involving wrestling,
really
right?
is.
So, to summarize it took a long way to get there. No big issues with the booking leads to whatever happens in the last couple weeks.
By no means does the booking have anything to do with my departure from GCW.
So you're making it official there. So you are gone from GCW.
Yes, I am gone from GCW. It's simply because me and the office, we just don't see eye to eye on the way that business is handled, and I think that the locker room is extremely toxic for someone who's battled with drug issues. I think it's toxic for someone who's battled mental health issues. And this is all strictly my point of view. I'm not speaking for anybody else that's in the Game Changer Wrestling locker room. If other people don't feel the same way, that's on them, and that's fine. It got to a point where my mental health was bad. It got to a point where I was doing every GCW show, and I was very, very loyal for the exposure. I was very loyal to Brett. It got me to where I am today, and I'm very thankful for that, very grateful. We didn't get along towards the end. My ultimate goal in professional wrestling is to be able to make a living off of professional wrestling, and with my new opportunities, I am able to do that. If I stayed in GCW, which I like wrestling for GCW, so I'm not going to bash them as a company, like running shows and stuff. It just got to a point where I just wasn't having fun anymore, and I just didn't like being there. Another reason why I decided to step away from GCW is I didn't like how the people that I was close to were treated. I didn't like how Ricky was treated, and I didn't like the way everything went about after War Games, and it's not my business to speak on, and I won't, but I didn't like it. Eddie Only still hasn't been paid for Hammerstein, there's just like little things like that. People were just being disrespected and stuff like that. So I just didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with the way things were handled in that aspect.
I could see why the other guys are angry, because while I got my share of scars from GCW, I wasn't fucking bleeding anywhere near as much as you guys were. So, also, I'm kind of the guy in the group, without going into too much detail, that can't really say much, or else I look like I'm complaining, and that's a whole inside thing. But it's like, I want to fucking do my part. I want to contribute. And listen, there are things that fucking piss me off. But I think I'm different than a lot of the guys in some aspect where, and not too much though, because everybody, despite how angry they were outwardly or inside, we made the best of the situation.
Yes.
So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so what Circle 6 is I was given an opportunity to help out with a new wrestling company with Mike. He did not steal me from GCW, like everybody's saying. That's weird. And the fact that someone can steal someone else from an independent wrestling company is an odd idea.
Who is Mike?
Okay. Mike is who used to run Nick Gage's merch, the MDK All Day. I just remember a specific instance where Mike pulled me off to the side in San Diego. He still worked for GCW. I had no relationship with Mike whatsoever other than saying hi to him when I got to the show. And he pulled me off to the side, and he had no idea that I was, a little bit frustrated. And he told me, hey, next month I'm going to step away from GCW because I don't feel appreciated and whatever. It's not my story to tell, it's his. But he pretty much told me, like, if I ever need anything, that I can reach out. So when I was in Los Angeles for GCW, which is where he lives, I reached out to him, and we started talking on a personal level about, like, mental health and, like, problems in my life and problems in his life. Yeah, I mean, we just kind of became close through that, and he had a lot of business ideas, and when he pitched this idea for a new wrestling company, I was obviously game for it because he's been very successful with everything that he's done in the past. He has great ideas. So when the idea of Circle 6 was pitched to me, he wants to start a wrestling company that is drama-free, and he wants to start a wrestling company for wrestlers and fans to watch and show up to without having to deal with drama or any sort of negativity or anything like that. And if you can tell by the roster that we've booked on this first show, that's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of people who are drama-free. They want to show up, they want to make money, they want to wrestle. That's my biggest goal with this whole company, is to just, make a living off wrestling and actually be happy doing it. I know that sounds impossible, but
It's challenging, but
Sure.
I don't think it's impossible.
Hopefully, yeah, we can do that. And I'm not going to say what's to come. All I'm going to say is this show is 100% not a one-off show. And another thing I want to say is a lot of people coming up to me and talking about or posting on social media, yeah, fuck GCW, you're going to do so good in Circle 6 and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even want to think about my departure from GCW. It's nobody's business. I shouldn't even be doing a podcast about it. Imagine someone quitting their job or getting fired from their job and or having a fallout with something that they've been so passionate about and put so much into. And even the promoter has been passionate and put so much back into me. Imagine that happens, and everybody just creates their own narrative, and it's the biggest thing that people are talking about on social media. Like, I'm not going to say it's hard to deal with, because I don't really go on social media. I don't like social media, but it's just weird. It's weird to me. Like, I get, like, from a fan standpoint, like, let fans be fans, but at the same time, like, these people are creating these ideas of a bunch of weird drama that happened. Like, one of the stories was that me and my brother and my girlfriend were kicked out of our hotel room by security and, like, dragged out of the room, and the curtains were ripped down, and we tried to, like, lock the door and put something up against it so security couldn't get in. Yeah, that 100% didn't happen. I showed up the next day and faced Matt Tremont in Atlantic City. So it's just, like, little things like that, like...
It's annoying.
It's very annoying, which is the only reason that I'm speaking on this whole thing.
Like, sometimes, I mean, this is sort of a bigger circumstance, a bigger situation, so, like, maybe that makes more sense why you'd want to set a few things straight, and also to make it perfectly clear that you're not fucking bitter and upset about GCW, and I think you've made it perfectly well known in this podcast here that it's not like you're fuck GCW, I want these guys to go out of business, because if GCW isn't around, then a lot of your friends that you just stood up for in a promo leading up to Hammerstein then don't have a prominent place to work. So it's not about that. It's just you want to do something different, do your own thing, and it's best for your own well-being at this time.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
My biggest goal is we're not trying to compete with GCW whatsoever. We're not a spite company. We're not, and fuck GCW, fuck Brett Lauderdale. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. I always like to hide stuff in my promos, or, like, little Easter eggs, or say certain things that, show stuff that is coming in the future, or stuff that's happened. And if you watch the announcement that I made for the Circle 6 show, there's lyrics to a song that play right after my promo, and we also put it on the Circle 6 shirt that came out with me on it. The quote says, "I still want them to eat, but they're going to have to sit at a different table." And that's my biggest thing, is GCW has been the ceiling in independent wrestling. If you're an independent wrestler, you want to work for GCW. We're not trying to be the second option. We have no problem with anybody on the roster working for Game Changer Wrestling. If literally anybody on the show, Jacob Fatu, he just worked LA last week, and he's going to be on the Circle 6 show, no problem with it whatsoever. If the people on the GCW roster are not allowed to work Circle 6, that's not on us. That was one of the biggest things that I told Mike, was I don't want to be a part of something that's going to come from bitterness or come from spite. We're not trying to fuck over anybody by doing this company. We're just trying to be another option so people can be seen on a much higher platform, regardless of the heat and drama. If we're looking at just strictly business, I mean, GCW only has so many spots, and that's one of the things that I feel make GCW special, is there's so many people that work for GCW that when you think about them, like when you think about Deppen or Alex Zane or Blake Christian, Jordan Oliver, you think GCW.
Yeah.
And there's no other company right now that's like that. So that's kind of another goal of ours, is we're trying to, like, have a legitimate roster. But yeah, as far as our end, there's no competition. That's on Brett Lauderdale and GCW.
And you mentioned the roster that you see on camera, but I think it's important to mention some of the people that make things happen behind the scenes. There's so many people that run errands and help set up the ring, and particularly when it comes to production, Mike Moran, who I've known since I basically started in wrestling. He trained with me. He transitioned into producing Cleveland All Pro Wrestling Television on Sports Time Ohio, which was, talk about fucking humble beginnings. If you go back and watch that show, we got episodes of that over on Patreon. youtube.com/Iron on Wrestling. You could see clips of it online on YouTube for free. Mike Moran, with the type of production he's brought into GCW, particularly with Hammerstein, with the fucking jib and everything, just the way it's shot. It's like, I mean, dude's come so far. And Giancarlo, you know, he's one of the guys behind the scenes in management now, but like the videos that he's produced over the years, even before GCW, and the way that he amplified the way GCW looks with the videos and the promos that he created, I mean, shit's on another level. And like, I like Giancarlo as a person. Like, I mean, he was one of the few people that, when I talked about on previous episodes, that I might be getting hired by WWE, he was one of the first people I called because I had to write a fucking email.
Right.
And I was like, yo, what do I say? Right. So like, there's so many people that make that company work behind the scenes. I just didn't want to go without mentioning that part. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that make that stuff work.
Yes, 100%.
As far as Circle 6 goes, when you talk about, you know, you talk about not wanting having drama and everything, there's a lot of names that have been announced. You could maybe talk about some of the names, but also, I don't know how much you want to divulge, but like, what is going to happen in front of the camera that's going to make Circle 6 different?
You're just going to have to watch it and find out. But if there's one word for something that we are going to do different, storytelling.
That I already like the sound of that because it lacks very much so. And I like to think that while the quality of wrestling in many promotions that are prominent is pretty incredible, some questionable, but for the most part, there's some incredible athleticism, a lot of shit that I could never in my wildest dreams pull off as a performer. A lot of these things that happen in these promotions are sort of hot-shotted. There are a lot of dream match scenarios booked, which is cool, but when you talk about stories and emotional investment, I feel like that's lacking. And, you know, to go back what we were talking about with 440 earlier, I really feel like that was something that we helped really usher into GCW, was creating emotional investment and proving that, you know, you don't have to pretend to be a bad guy and then shake someone's hand. Like, you could stand your ground, be a fucking piece of shit, and people will come back wanting more, because it doesn't matter how many people say it, or even if you want to go back to the fucking Attitude Era and you want to talk about Shades of Grey. Shades of Grey can work, but at the end of the day, at its core, good versus evil. People understand good versus evil in all forms of storytelling. When that lacks in wrestling, so does the emotional investment. So if that's something that Circle 6 is going to do, I mean, I'm already all in on it.
Yeah. And you know what else we're going to do that's going to separate us from at least this bubble of all these independent companies is we're going to have match rules.
Oh.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
So if you look at some of the matches announced, one of them is Schlack versus Jacob Fatu, and it specifically says on the match graphic that it is a no disqualification match. And that is because the normal rules are going to be in effect during other matches. And that is something that, I don't know, I can't really even think of like what companies truly do it like beyond, and a lot of the IWTV companies have match rules, right? But like the bubble that I've been stuck in of No Peace, VXS, ICW, GCW, if I want to go skewer someone, I go skewer someone and nothing happens, and I can do it on every show.
And listen, when you say this, I mean, I know you well enough to say this for you, you're not shitting on these places.
No.
But when rules are in effect, or even when, because no one really thinks with this mindset, when there are no rules, but you still do things in a way that seem underhanded or dastardly, like even if there are no rules technically, and something happens where the ref is bumped, or the ref doesn't see it, and then you do that shit behind their back, even with the no rules, like, you want to create this feeling that, I don't know, like, you're a fucking piece of shit, or, you know, I mean, like, it gets so much more heat.
Sure.
There's so much more emotional investment. It all goes back to that statement, emotional investment. If you do something within the confine, like rules are meant to be broken, right? If you fucking bend and break the rules, you're a fucking piece of shit. Or in the case of a babyface, if you bend the rules the means of good, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, right? To have justice prevail. So it's like rules need to be more of a factor when it comes to pro wrestling.
I 100% agree.
You want everyone to work as hard as possible,
Yes.
but within the confines in which they're given, right? Not everybody can go out there and have a fucking 20-minute match. And quite frankly, not everybody needs to go out there and have 20 minutes. Some of my favorite matches, as I go back to listen to old podcasts and reviews of shows, or I go back and watch the actual matches, there are a lot of these matches that I hold in high regard, that when I hear the time that these matches went on for, like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I think to myself, how was that match that good in 12 minutes? And then I remind myself, you don't fucking need 15 to 20 for it to be a good match. And I think that's this sort of mindset that a lot of guys fall into, where it's like, well, my match can't be good if I have 6 minutes. Yes, it fucking can.
Yeah.
You just have to tell the story in a different way, and you have to tell it a little bit quicker.
100%. I agree.
Okay, so we want to have rules in wrestling. We want to have storylines in wrestling. We're going to do this in Circle 6, which, again, seems simplistic at its core, but...
I know, hearing you say that, isn't that crazy? That like we're professional wrestlers, and that's what we do. And the way we're going to be different from these other companies is that we're going to imply rules and storylines.
As far as the roster that's already been announced for the show, who is all going to be on this first event in LA?
So there's still more announcements to come, but as of right now, we have myself, you, Ricky Shane Page, Biff Busick, Brody King, Jacob Fatu, Schlack, Christopher Daniels. I'm trying to think of who else we have announced. How about I make an announcement now? Right,
Okay.
Right on, what is this called? Iron on Wrestling?
Jesus Christ. You fucking started editing the show, you piece of shit.
I don't remember.
Right from the yes, you do.
Okay, so announcement would be for you, Eddie Only and Eric Ryan will be joining you on March 19th
Oh,
at Circle 6.
wow. Like just on the show, or like they're teaming with me?
I think they should be teaming with you, right?
Okay.
I think you need it more than anybody
Okay. Well, wait, what does that mean?
because you can't fight for yourself. You're
Oh.
the bitch of the group, right?
Okay, Jesus.
Are you the
Christ.
bitch of the group in Circle 6?
I don't know.
We'll see, right?
I feel like Greg Iron in the past has stood on his own,
Yeah.
but you know, we'll see. We'll see where I fit in.
Okay, fair. Well, you're going to fit in with Eric and Eddie for the first show.
I like the sound of that, and it's been a while since I've been in Los Angeles, so I'm looking forward to going back. And actually, so this show currently, I don't know if there's going to be any plans of streaming the show or whatnot, but I'm sure as that comes to light, we will announce that on the show. But it is March 19th.
I can 100% confirm the show will be streamed.
Okay.
I just can't confirm exactly where it will be streamed right now, but it will be announced very shortly. It might already be announced before this episode, and we might have to edit this out.
Gotcha. Or, I mean, well, I'll edit something in post. I don't know. But if you aren't going to be watching it via stream and you happen to be in LA, you can always go to the show, which will be happening at 1720 East 16th Street in Los Angeles, California. And you can get tickets at, is it circle6.co?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good way to get tickets. And I don't know, before we wrap up here, one other thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of independent wrestlers sort of revolve their April, late March around WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania weekend for you, I don't know what it's looked like currently, but I sort of wanted to talk about what it was going to look like had this ultimatum not came to, as we like to say on the show, fruitration. So, if you want to talk about
Came to
that.
what?
Fruitration. It's a thing.
It's an ongoing thing?
Rod Destiny said it on the show several times.
Is it an actual word?
He went to say fruition,
Oh, okay.
but he said fruitration.
Oh,
Not
well,
once, but like 3 times in the same,
That's
in the
rough.
same
Okay.
show.
All
So,
right, cool.
Continue.
I don't know what I'm going to do Mania week. I might stay home. I might show up at WrestleCon. I might show up at No Peace Underground's Murder Mania if I'm feeling froggy. Because I guess I gave my spot away to AJ Gray from what the internet likes to say.
Oh.
Like the shackles are off. I feel very confident about what we're going to do at Circle 6. I feel very confident about what I'm going to do outside of Circle 6. I feel like for the first time in my life, my mental health is not weighing me down. I feel very happy and very motivated about everything that we're going to do. So for all of my diehard fans who have been with me through this whole journey, hopefully they, stick with everything, and hopefully all of the diehard GCW fans don't look at this as me saying fuck GCW, because I'm not going to say that, and I don't think that, and I wish the best for everybody involved in that company, and I hope they continue to gain success, and I hope that everybody in that company gets paid what they are truly worth. But yeah, I truly wish the best for them, and I'm going to worry about me, and I'm going to worry about what I'm doing.
I think that is a good idea, and you've really grown as a performer in front of the eyes of so many over the past few years, and as a man, you've grown a lot too.
Thank you.
And
I'm going to be 25 years old.
That's weird to think about. I had this guy's first match, everyone. What was it, 4 years ago? 5 years ago now?
6.
Jesus Christ.
2015.
That's so crazy how time flies. And again, we've mentioned in past episodes, not crazy about you when I first met you.
Yes.
Thought you had a hell of a promo. You definitely stood up above all the other kids in Ricky's school. But man, you've become one of my closest friends, and I can't tell you enough how proud I am of you, not only just for your work in the ring, but for being willing and able to stand up for yourself and stand up for others that deserve it. Even if they don't want you to or need you to, just the fact that you're that type of dude, you should be commended for it. And the fact that this isn't like typical wrestling bullshit where it's like everyone has the mindset, I feel like, where they want to be the one and only brand in wrestling, like you're going out there, you're trying to create a new brand, but at the same time, you have the mindset that you want everybody else to thrive and that the business cannot be successful if there isn't multiple tables to eat at, as you alluded to earlier. So I think this was an enlightening conversation, and I thank you for taking the time to chat with me. And I guess if I don't see you anytime soon, I'll see you in Los Angeles on March 19th.
Yeah, I fucking hate you, and I'm going to go spend all this money you paid me to do this stupid-ass podcast. What episode is this? 145?
145.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Get a life.
I'll try.
Okay.
I take back all the kind things that I said.
All right.
Well, that was a very interesting interview with Atticus Cogar. For all of you that were wondering what the big backstage scuttlebutt was, now you know. And Circle 6 has been detailed for us. The upcoming event will take place March 19th in Los Angeles, California. I'll be there. Apparently I'm teaming up with Eddie Only and Eric Ryan, as Atticus broke that news right here on the show. And like he said numerous times, there is no beef on his end with GCW. It was just business, and whatever happens on their end is up to them, and we'll see what happens now that the story is out there in its entirety.
Well, I waited until this moment to give you a scoop. Breaking news.
Okay, what is it? What do you got?
Well,
okay, wait, he's got his finger on his ear.
you're
As if he's got an earpiece in, but he doesn't. Okay, so this is not going to be real. Continue.
No, my ear itches. That's what that is
okay.
right now.
All
But
right.
you're not going to be the only host of this show that's booked in Los Angeles, California.
Oh.
I'm just getting word. Hold on. This isn't an itch now. Hold on.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'm booked.
You're booked.
So there it is.
Who booked you?
Oh, the wrestling promoter.
What's his name? Did you listen to the interview? His
Yeah.
name was mentioned several times.
I know. So,
If you had to guess what his name is.
Sean.
Nope.
William.
No.
Radney.
Okay. We're done. So, yeah. So that was the interview with the Addy. It was very eye-opening, ear-opening, more so, because this is a podcast. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, if you want to hear more from Atticus Cogar, not only do we have 3 episodes actually in the archives with him, 2 with him by himself, 1 with his brother. You can also check out the bonus episode, which we have up right now on patreon.com/irononwrestling, where we talk for 40-ish more minutes. I don't know the exact time off my head, but it's definitely a buttload of bonus content for you. And if you're on Patreon, stick around for this extended version of the podcast where we're going to talk about some current events happening within the world of wrestling over the past week. And it should be quite interesting, to say the least. But with that being said, we thank you for tuning in once again. If you've been a regular listener, if you're tuning in for the first time, thanks for giving us a shot, and I hope you come back for more. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast for more episodes on iTunes or wherever you download podcasts. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Iron on Wrestling. Make sure wherever you're listening to the show, you rank us 5 stars and leave a comment about the show. It helps create visibility for the podcast. Check us out on social media over at Iron on Wrestling on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, as we've mentioned several times, for all bonus content from the show, audio, video, pictures, so many other things, rarities, go to patreon.com/irononwrestling. Give us a shot. It is a great way to support the podcast, and it's really kept us going. And like I said, it's a great wrestling community. So if you're looking for a lot of like-minded wrestling fans, you will find them over on Patreon. Check me out on social media. I am Gregory Iron on Twitter, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/TheHandicappedHero is where you can find me on the Facebook. Go to my Pro Wrestling Tees store, ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron for Gregory Iron shirts, Aaron Bauer shirts, Rod Destiny shirt, Iron on Wrestling shirts galore. And, of course, find me on Cameo. Cameo, just search Gregory Iron. And if you want to book me for pro wrestling motivational speaking or pro wrestling seminars, find me on social media, send me a DM, or email me directly at Gregory_Iron@yahoo.com. We can work something out. I actually have a seminar coming up for Mega Championship Wrestling in Elyria, Ohio at the end of the month, and I'm looking forward to that. I just love giving back the knowledge that I've learned over the years in professional wrestling, teaching the psychology and promos, and we're going to have a great time at Mega at the end of the month. So if you're a Mega student, I look forward to seeing you at that event. And that's all I got. Aaron, what would you like to plug, my friend?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was just
What was that?
Gregory Iron. No script. No cheat sheet. Nothing written down. You didn't read that from anywhere.
No.
Completely off the top of the man's dome. Congratulations, sir.
It's almost
We
like
applaud you.
Okay. I've done it for like 145 episodes now.
It amazes me every time, though, and there, you throw something in and add to it, and well, that's a real talent of yours.
Thanks.
So,
I have brain damage from birth, technically.
yep, that's well, I don't. Maybe that's part of your defect.
Maybe. You want to plug anything?
I don't care. Nobody cares about me. They care about you.
I think they like you, Aaron.
Oh yeah, that's right. You told me that. I'm at Fair to Air on Twitter, at Fair to Aaron on Instagram, at Fair to Air OnlyFans, at Fair to Air Snapchat,
Okay.
and Happy Kitty 7183 on Yahtzee with friends.
That's it. Come back again next week and check out more interviews, more ridiculousness, whatever comes up. We're going to have a good time. Thanks for trying us out.
Thanks, Mitch. I see you out there.
Okay. You can't see him. And that's it. Come back next week. Until then, we give you a very moist, good-natured kiss.
I miss you, Ryan.
Give me a kiss.
All the Ryans that...
My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I've planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit up more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. The record shows that I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had my fill, my fair share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that. And may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what a man, what has he got, if not himself, then he is not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. Yes, it was my